Good evening, everybody. I was going to do a pendulum energy reading on Dipa Ma, the Buddhist Master, and see what happens. Okay, so let's get going with her reading. Okay, so coming up to Dipa Ma's image, there's a nice light feeling to it. As one can see, it's circling, it's got some nice movement of energy to it. It feels light, it feels the best way to put it is, there's a happiness about it. Okay, so let's see if we get any more story for Dipa Ma. Alright, so she is a woman who endured much suffering in her earlier days. She had a lot of losses that came to her, and it had to do with births, so births of her children. There were incidents in which the soul passed pretty quickly. So she endured those kinds of experiences, as well as a partner or husband that passed on. Okay, and with this passing, she went through grief, she went through trauma in herself. Like I can see wounds that bled due to these experiences of loss. And this created, one can see this turbulence in her, or feelings of grief, unhappiness, unsettledness, in which she sought to find, some kind of balm or aid for this. It was rather torturous time for her in trying to, endure these losses, traumas. So there was physical pain, there was illness that came. And so she was searching really in her soul. It doesn't seem like she really knew what she was searching for. And this says no, she really didn't know, but she was journeying along where she met with someone that did suggest meditation to her. And I do see like some books open, holy books. So what she did is begin to read some books, and you can see the pendulum's getting really big with this speech of the books. She was drawn to Buddhism initially, or practices and things, but that's getting smaller. So the books, it sounds like what had a bigger imprint on her were these books, and you can see some writing on the pages, and what I see that's actually coming out of this book that's open, these pages, I see like an energy that's flying. So there's cities within that book, flying to the ethers, different things where people could go through hard structures. So this book spoke a lot about city powers, in which Dipa Ma, she read these things, and she, okay, now it's getting lighter, it's getting more still. So you can see it gets more balanced as, okay, she read these things, and it ran through her. This type of energy came through her, like in a way it was transmitted in a way. Let's see, is this right? So not transmitted so much as she was very open and ripe to the energy that was coming, and when this reading of these cities. And so these cities did come to her, many of them. She, at least, let's see, did she say she went through these experiences? Yes. Did others feel this in her? Okay, you can see a bigger yes. So a lot of people felt this type of city power or mystic power about her. And Okay, so she was able to speak with souls on the other side. And I'm just laughing because, you know, that's something that, yes, indeed does happen. And also do some of this flying. Okay, you can see there's a yes, so this is true of her. She was able to leave her body, I guess, and go to astral planes. So is this something she tried to do? Okay, so it's saying no. So that with a lot of these powers that come along the way as one journeys through, they just come spontaneously, okay? So this is what happened with Dipa Ma. You can see a yes. It wasn't like she was sitting there attempting really hard to do it. It just came that way to her, like, you know, through this reading, through this energy, that she was open to, that just boom, and it broke it open. So she was able, you know, these things happened to her where, let's see, I believe with her some psychic ability, one can see yes. So she's able to connect with beings on different, with different levels, different energies, different planets, different planes. Okay, the ethers, the heavenly realms, all sorts of things. And this is something that she just came that way. Any other cities that are important for her? No. So, you know, really when it says no, it's just, and again, the feeling right away that came is that cities are not what matter, or these powers, supernatural powers that come. You can see it saying no, that's just part of the journey. That's like, I see stepping stones, okay? Stepping stones along the way, not anything to get attached to, not anything to cultivate, but for some along the journey, these types of supernatural powers and abilities come. It's part of it with this energy opening, okay? So she journeyed along, and she did have, I believe, maybe one, I don't know, it's feeling like, you know, there's this little child that was there that, you know, was survived, so that was with her. It does feel heavy. Okay, there's a balancing. So let's see what's happening now with this. Sometimes that happens and it moves on to another level, another energy. Okay, so one can see this pendulum. One can't see it, but it is lifting very, you can't see it in there, lifting very high, almost like a helium balloon, okay, that's resting above Dipa Ma's head, and it's going around. Very light, very airy, very ethereal feeling, and now it's getting heavy and dropping down. So let's see where this is going. Okay, so again, it's saying that Dipa Ma did struggle this way with this feeling of lowness in her life, this lowness, and then it was able, with some of these connections, or with her heart opening, it's still feeling heavy. So I just want to see where this is going. Hard to say. Okay, now it's lifting again, and it just feels so light. Like with this opening, there was this lighter energy, this very light. All one can say, it feels ethereal. It feels heavenly in a way that's surrounding her. So from that low to this ethereal feeling due to her, was this due to her opening her heart? It says no. Was it just there because she was ripe? Okay, this is it. So who knows what kind of work she did in other lives, this life, but it just came like boom, and then she was in a different space entirely. Okay, so her speech, you know, I haven't read much of her practices, but what is the feeling is she was kind, she was humble. She lived in humble abode. She allowed others to come into her space, into her humble space, and she would give them blessings with her presence. She also, let's see, there was something else coming, and I'm just kind of feeling it here. Let's see more about these city powers. Did she stay? Did she keep? Did those remain with her? Okay, yes, it does feel like it's a little bit lighter, like there was a real strong opening that did lighten up. And let's see, in terms of this this divine connection did continue to be maintained, this divine channel in a way that was there throughout her life. And let's see if it caused her any troubles. No, it didn't bother her in the least. She liked the communication. Okay, there's some that do. She liked it. She gathered energy from it. She felt it. She felt blessed by it. Okay, and okay. So in terms of being completely still, was this true for Dipa Ma? Interesting. Okay, one can see there's a bit of movement there. Not much, it's pretty light. You know, a little bit of movement. It could be that she still was in some communication with this channel thing. And that could be part of it that happened with her. However, it didn't seem to intrude on whatever peace was inside of her. Okay, no and yes. So there was still some of that left. There was, you know, not complete dissolution of this, you know, you would call it more dualistic communication of her and other. Okay, but again, this very light feeling, very floating feeling. And with her blessings, when what souls would come around her, she would sometimes just blow on them. She would, you know, she'd talk about meditation. She'd also give out meditation to women that did not have a lot of opportunities. With a lot of, they may have a lot of children. They may be, you know, some of them in that time or when wherever she lived, were stuck at home trying to rear a lot of children struggling. And she did help teach them meditation ways to be more balanced and calmer. And you can see this is getting bigger. This was a big way that, or something that Dipa Ma did that was a great benefit to others and especially to women. She wouldn't bar anyone from learning or hearing about her state and her changes and the meditation. And for that, others were blessed, you know, because with some it's elite. It's either, okay, you have to be male to get a certain status, or you have to be a Hindu, you have to be Buddhist, you have to be, you know, this, you have to be that. And with her, you know, it came to her, she felt like she was a common woman, a regular woman with struggles, regular human experiences, and she was able to find this peace that others, why is the gate not open to everybody? This is the way she was. She was very humble in that way, which made her really attractive to so many, you know. Okay, so let's see, anything else with Dipa Ma? Oh, while in body. Okay, so let's see, a good question would be to see where her consciousness is now, and let's see what happens. Okay, so one can see this movement outward. It does come out. It's feeling very nice and light. Okay, so there is a balance there. All this much more balanced feeling, amazingly heavy in the heart, and a balancing there in her heart, a heaviness there too. So it feels very well. It feels very good. I do all the, you know, again, I see either a Bible or a Holy Scripture opened. And that seems to be the feeling here in her heart, as if, you know, she has absorbed those in her heart, in herself, and is resonating with that type of power. Okay, so I'm hearing psychic. Okay, she's a psychic woman. She was able to see into people's souls, into their hearts, into their minds, and give them direction through this psychic channel that they felt really brought clarity to them, It gave them some way to move forward. It gave them a direction. So this psychic power she had was a very helpful thing. And for her, it just was there again, and one can just see it, and it's there, and she, it just came. So okay, and now it feels as if with her passing there's a more balance, there's a more straight up flow, there's a heaviness in her heart. It feels very nice. All feels very good. One can just feel there's a lot of pluses in her, which means, she gave a lot of benefit to humanity. She left a lot of very nice words, like these flowers in the garden. One can see in this butterfly, this new awakening, and it just feels that way with Dipa Ma. Okay, let's see anything else with her. No, so I think that's quite fine with Dipa Ma, and thank you for those that are tuning in, and have a great evening. Namaste. Good night.